If you're new here, you don't know that I just love to spend money. And thankfully, I've made a lot of it to be able to do that. And you would think, Mr. X, you make so much money, you must be really smart, you must be really calculated, you're not impulsive. No, not the case. Super impulsive, especially at spending money. Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. We are giving away $1,000 statues to you guys. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, welcome to the Extreme Channel. My name is Mr. X. Today we're doing a countdown of my 10 most impulsive purchases. So yes, these are purchases, large purchases that I've made. Not necessarily the biggest purchases, but purchases I've made on an impulse. Now there are some purchases we're not going to talk about today. Those are anything business related. So anytime I made an investment into a business or I actually purchased a business, something like that, I'm not going to talk about today. It gives away too much personal information. And if you're curious why I don't talk about what I do for a living, check out this video right here. Now, of course, I know you're looking behind me and you're like, of course you make impulse purchases. There's statues all the time. We're not talking about statues today, although one big one might slip in.
That's what she said.
But we're going to talk about my 10 most impulsive purchases of my life. Not only will I talk about how much each one costs, but I'm going to talk about why I made that purchase or why I think I did, because a lot of times I didn't really think about it and I just did it. Before we dive into this list of 10, make sure to comment below what your most impulsive purchase is. I love to read your comments. And we are doing giveaways. As we try to grow this channel, we like to reward you guys for watching and subscribing. So because of that, every 5,000 milestone when it comes to subscribers, we give away a couple $1,000s worth of statues. We've actually given away over 20 statues. To win one was easy. First, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. You'll get bell notifications when videos drop. Each video that drops, you wanna make a comment on those videos. We pick a random video, we give away statues based on a comment. You can say whatever you want. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. It's 4 in the fucking morning on a Saturday. Couldn't sleep. I didn't even drink yesterday. All right, so we're doing a top 10 list today of these impulse purchases. I really couldn't put them in order because there's a lot of things that qualify it as an impulse. We're gonna count down 10 to 1, but again, the order doesn't matter. Just like when I argue with my wife, it really doesn't matter. Number 10 is the one statue purchase, and I threw this in there because not only did the statue cost a lot of money, it's very big, I didn't have a place to put it, and to be honest with you, I think the intellectual property it's associated with is way overrated. That is Queen Studios' Balrog. I call this life size. Go back and watch the review why I think it's life size. But this was, I think, about $7,000, $8,000, and I didn't have a place to put it. It's actually in one of my wife's rooms, which she loves. But in Lord of the Rings, I think is a great series. But I think it's overrated. People tout it as the best of all time. And I got to tell you, my favorite thing is to mess with Loader fans. Check out this video right here of how I like to troll internet trolls, and I guarantee someone cried when I said that they're overrated. Number 9 was a recent purchase. So my family and I, we went on a cruise, and I noticed, hey, when we get back to Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades, we actually have a few days free. So why not just tack on to a $6,000 Disney World bill, because we missed Disney World last year. Without even telling my family and kind of with 3 weeks to go, I just said, you know what, let's hit Disney World. Some people do this massive planning, which of course I did to get everything done. You can see in the thumbnail here, we actually hit all 4 parks and rides within 2 days, so it's definitely worth checking out. But definitely an impulsive purchase, and probably the most recent one, maybe, on this list. Number 8, and I can't remember which year it is. I could probably look it up easy, but I was scheduled to go to New York Comic Con, and I was going to bring Mrs. X. She'd never been to a con. And on a side note, so this was either 2021 or 2022, I don't remember. On a side note, 2024, we are going. So if you're going, love to see you there. But they announced that you had to be vaccinated. Now, I don't want to get controversial. I am vaccinated. But I was like, this is going to make the con suck. Not only do you have to be vaccinated, you have to wear masks. And I know that's really controversial, but I was like, this is going to limit a lot of the cool people going. Because a lot of people, even if they're vaccinated like me and would wear masks in public, which I did, didn't want to go. It wasn't as good a time, and that would make the experience a lot less. So instead of going to New York City, we were supposed to leave like a week later. I called the airlines, or I didn't call them. I went online. And instead of going to New York City, we still got on a plane that morning, but we headed to Cancun, Mexico instead. And while I did lose like $1,000 on the hotel in New York City, it was definitely worth it. We already had childcare arranged, and me and Mrs. X got to get away for 5 days in Cancun and had an absolute amazing time at his secrets. Number 7, one morning I took my family on a hike. We love to hike in the mountains. In fact, I might be doing a video in about a month or so on a hike. Now, I had a secret agenda behind the hike. The night before, I was getting tired of my Camaro. And I was like, it's not fast enough. I need something more. So I looked up online, and there was a car dealership that had a car I really wanted, and it was on the way to the hike in the mountains. So on the way back, I was like, let's just stop here and check things out. And then I drove home this Corvette that day. So definitely an impulsive purchase. There was a little bit of planning behind that, about 24 hours. And that was pretty easy to sell Mrs. X because I told her she could drive it, and she likes to drive fast. Number 6, I jumped into crypto back in, I think it was 2021 or so. And I was so addicted to that. Someone's like, what's crypto? So I spent about 30 minutes reading online, didn't know what I was doing, bought into it, made a ton of money, didn't pull it out, lost it all, gained all of it back. I recently lost a whole bunch. I'm still positive, kind of. Ton of money tied up into crypto, but I haven't withdrawn any. It is hard as shit to withdraw that money. I finally did figure it out. But I figured it out just a little too late, as it was recently dropping here in the summer of 2024. But yeah, I heard about crypto. I'm like, that sounds fun, 30 minutes in. And if you're into crypto, my first 2 months, I was staring at that shit and buying and selling almost every 30 minutes. Now, I haven't changed anything in like 2 years. Number 5 is a purchase that I had to get a big refund on, and it wasn't by choice. So we recently celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary, and I wanted to do something extreme, hence the name of the channel, something big. So we booked a trip, an amazing trip. It went from London to Paris to Rome to Greece to Jerusalem to Ephesus to Egypt to Cyprus. We were literally hitting 4 different continents, including the continent we were coming from. And then a war broke out, as you guys know. So our travel agent canceled the whole itinerary. Now, the reason this classifies as an impulse purchase, first of all, obviously it was very big, very elaborate, very extreme. Second of all, very expensive. We were taking our children as well. And third of all, I thought about it for like a day. But alas, it didn't come to fruition, unfortunately. Number 4, about 3 or 4 years ago, we had been going to Denver Nuggets games probably about half a dozen times a year or so. Sometimes I go with my wife, sometimes I go with my sons. We'd just pick up tickets when there were good opponents in town. And then for some reason, I got an email saying, hey, we have season tickets available. I wasn't even on a waiting list. 4 hours later, my wife and I had our season tickets booked. And it was great because the very next year they won the NBA championship. As you know, I did a video on this. So anyway, they won the NBA championship, and we still have those tickets to this day, and we've been able to upgrade seats this next year. I'm so excited. We're club level. We're right by the ESPN cameras. Center court. Super stoked about our new seats. Number 3, this one, I don't want to say it's impulsive because I was thinking about it for years and years, but when I decided to pull the trigger, I moved fast. I probably moved within a week, but this was this backyard remodel. Where I live, we have very tiny backyards, so I had to figure out how to do something cool with it. So I got this mini pool / spa right in the ground. We did zero-scaping everywhere. We added fire pits, and it is just our absolute favorite place to hang out, both in the summer and the winter. Cost $150,000 when it was all said and done. Definitely in my mind an impulse purchase how quickly we moved on it. Number 2 is one I don't have yet. I was actually supposed to pick it up, and I did this video right here. Yes, the ugly ass Cybertruck. What's crazy about this right here is I have never seen so much hate for a vehicle, which it always amazes me. Why do people care what other people spend their money on? What drives that to actually bother you? But I love it. I think it's fantastic. By the time this launches, I may have the Cyber Beast in hand. I don't know. If so, there will be plenty of videos on that. Number 1. So this one qualifies as an impulse purchase, even though I was trying to purchase it for about 7 years. I'm a Broncos fan. Through thick and thin, I stick with the team. You guys know that too, because you also know I'm a Husker fan. But I've always been a Broncos fan. When Peyton Manning moved here, got on the season tickets waiting list, and it's usually like a 15, 20-year wait. Well, they sent an email to a few select people. I don't know how they selected us. And they said, hey, you have a chance to not only get great season tickets, but you have a chance to bypass the list if you buy these super expensive. At that time, they were only $11,000 per ticket per year. You get this amazing exclusive club. So I got this email in the morning, and I'm just like, okay, I was not planning on spending $11,000 a ticket, because that is a lot of money even to somebody like me. And this was in the morning, and all day long I kept refreshing the seats because you got your choice of seats in the lower bowl. Finally, I found some seats. It is the second row, technically the third row minus the handicapped, on the 48-yard line for 3 tickets. And I went ahead and purchased it. And then I remember walking back to the backyard telling Mrs. X, hey, I just spent $35,000. Please do not be mad at me. And she was a little skeptical. She was pretty pissed, and she's not pissed anymore because it was one of the best impulsive purchases we ever made. When this is launching, I think we're just a few weeks away from the new season starting, which I know we're going to have a tough season as the Broncos, which you don't really care about. But I am super stoked because it is such an amazing experience each Sunday we get to go. So those are my 10 most impulsive purchases. When I look back at each one, Mr. X, do you regret any of them? I wouldn't use the word fully regret. Balrog is probably the biggest regret, although I still think it's an amazing statue. The Corvette, a little bit of a regret simply for the fact that I never got to drive it. At that time, I wouldn't drive it to the office. The boss driving a really fancy car to the office is not a good look, in my opinion. But otherwise, very little regrets on, crypto. That's a big regret. So if you threw down in the comments below what your biggest impulse purchase was, now is the time. Do you regret it? Throw that down in the comments below. And again, just like we talked about with the Cybertruck, if anyone else bought something that you don't like, you should definitely attack them and attack whatever they bought, because what they spend their money on should be your biggest concern. Hey, if you're new here, that was all sarcasm. It's great when you have to explain your jokes, but my name is Mr. X. Please just drop a like and consider subscribing to watch me make stupid impulse purchases like you do a YouTube channel. What?